Oh, hello, yes. Well, it's the weekend, I'm pleased to say. Yes, anyway, the election's going well, isn't it? How many Reform MPs do you reckon there's going to be? Because the voting system is desperately unfair, and we've not really had any more than Lee Anderson, who, I know, he was a member of the Labour Party, and then he was a member of the Conservative Party, and now he's a member of the Reform Party, and I think in a few weeks he's going to be a member of, well, probably still the Reform Party, hopefully trying to get a safe seat if he possibly can do, because I think they'll end up with one MP, which will be Nigel Farage. And lots of people are complaining bitterly about the way that system works, because first past the post tends to hammer smaller parties. So there's lots of talk of a pact going on, and yes, that nice Mr Farage might well just sort of decide to have a pact recently or soon with the Conservatives, which obviously won't be a rerun of 2019 when he just threw his own supporters under a bus. Not in the slightest, of course, because of course that won't also stop a Tory rout, so he probably won't do it. But it would be amusing to see the twists and turns of people that regard him as a godlike figure in trying to explain why once again he has shafted them. Yes, anyway, we will see, because of course if Nigel Farage does get to be an MP and does get to be leader of the Conservative Party, you can bet your bottom dollar that number one on his list will not be electoral reform. Guaranteed, folks, okay? It's not for the likes of you. Mr Farage doesn't work for you. He's a globalist and he works for other interests. Anyway, moving away completely from that, I was going to show you this, which is one of those GBNews clips that managed to make my blood boil. I think it was on Thursday last week, and I kept it in my back pocket. So let's have a look at this with my commentary, and then we'll delve a little bit deeper into the mysteries of parental power and what children turn out like.
Move on to this now. This is a story in The Guardian. Special needs support. Who's got this?
Me. Record 576,000 pupils have special needs support plan in England, which is a lot. The number of children and young people in England requiring support for special educational needs and disabilities has increased sharply. So we've now got local authorities who have issued 84,400 of these education, health and care plans, EHCPs, last year. And of course, it costs loads of money.
Yes, of course it costs loads of money, and like the rest of these people on this panel, I don't want to pay for that, and I don't see why I should. After all, my child doesn't go around being all special needy. I mean, you know, he has his own particular little quirks, which often involve medication, therapy, and occasional prison sentences, but he's not, you know, a special needs kid.
So why the jump?
Great question.
Are we living in an over-diagnostic culture? Is that
I
partly
think we
to do
might
with
be.
it?
That would be my suspicion. It reminds me of when you go to the supermarket and there's all those disability bays, and you think, really, are there that many disability? I don't know. It's like
Yes, indeed. You know, I mean, if you look at the statistics for the number of people with a disability, it's 1 in 4. But let's face it, when you go to a supermarket and there's like 6 bays out of 100 for disabled people, you do have to say to yourself, that's an awful lot of disabled bays, isn't it, for, you know, a quarter of the people? What's going on? I mean, what is going on? It's a con, isn't it? Let's face it, it's over-diagnosis, yeah? You know, these people that just wander around pretending they've got MS or cancer or, you know, some sort of, you know, I don't know, severe mental condition which requires long-term medication and care. I mean, it can't be all of them, surely.
it's going up all the time.
Why don't they have some disability bays for actual disabled people and then some lazy bays for lazy people?
Yes, I think that's a very good idea. They could allocate some special bays for people who have no understanding of complex problems and can't really be bothered to think about it, other than from a sort of right-wing perspective that they're, you know, paid to have. Because, you know, we'd have to allocate at least 2 per car park then, you know, because these people wouldn't be able to park in a straight line. You know what they're like, these commentators.
Wouldn't that work?
That's a great idea. And yeah, considering a lot of this, and we were just talking about it with the rise in people claiming sickness, disability. They can't all be sick. They can't all.
I mean, some will be, right?
Yeah, some.
Yeah.
Some, but we can't have this. You know, it'd be.
Yes, so, we all know how easy it is, right, okay, to get, signed off long-term sick with nothing at all, okay? So what you do is you get up in the morning and think, I don't really want to go to work today, or indeed for the next 5 years. Make an appointment at your doctor's, probably going to take, no time at all. You probably do it the next day, the way things are. And if you put in a sad face and cough, the doctor will immediately say to you, it's a bloke, obviously, because doctors are blokes. We know that in this world. And they'll instantly say, oh, you don't sound well. You better have some time off work. Here's a special slip that you can take down to your local job centre, and they'll give you lots of money for doing nothing for the next 5 years. And you can apply for a blue badge, which means you get priority parking ahead of all the other people who you can then laugh at. Laugh, yes.
Weird if there's suddenly this huge increase.
Well, I noticed
in
it
people
because
being genuinely sick. But this whole special needs thing, basically, you've got people who get money if they're special needs kids, and they can suck all this money out of the system, out of the.
Yeah, and just to leap in there, you see, I've been milking this for 20 years as a special needs teacher. My specialism is in, the non-existent thing of kids being autistic, which we all know isn't actually a thing. It's the same with, like kids being, dyslexic. They're stupid, really, dyslexic kids. And with me, okay, I just work with these kids who are all the children of middle-class parents, and they're all perfectly fine, apart from the fact that they just have behaviour problems and their parents can't admit it. And I've been milking this for years because it means, that I can go one-to-one in a room with a child who has a long history of violence, and I'm just raking the cash in with that and providing no service whatsoever to society to keep people like Leo safe. Lucky me, eh?
State out of the taxpayer. So they're going to make more special needs kids so they can get more money.
There's more than that, though, as well.
Yeah,
There's also parents who like to have their kids diagnosed with this stuff because it excuses why they're so badly behaved.
Yeah, you see, there's no such thing as special needs kids. There's no such thing as children that are in any way, shape or form any different from each other. The next time you see some child in some electric wheelchair that looks very expensive, just give them a shove, and I bet you anything they'll all stand up and walk away, all right, okay? Yeah, that's probably what that's about. It's the same with all those, all those people that are homeless, all right, okay? They all have BMWs, really, don't they? Because they can just raking it in from begging. Yeah. Don't want to work, and what is it? Well, it's the liberal lefties, the wokists, the teachers, the doctors, the social workers, the blob, and the lefty lawyers who just allow them to get away with it.
Yeah.
But it also gives them extra time in exams and all. I taught at a very posh school, and what you found is posh parents who could afford these private doctors would diagnose their kids with these elaborate things, and then they would it would just really benefit them in terms of exam time, in terms of tolerance. I had one parent who had got their kid diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder because someone cut a bit of her hair off.
Yes, because you do get a diagnosis. I can tell you as a fact, as a special needs teacher, that you can get a PTSD diagnosis from a doctor at the drop of a hat. And of course, wouldn't you want to have Andrew as your teacher with that kind of understanding attitude? If you go up to him and say, you're a bit quiet in class today, Claire, what's up? My mum died. And then he'd just shout at you that you should be more resilient, because that's what we need from young people these days. Not like the three on the panel who, are just... you wouldn't catch them shirking off or anything else. They're perfectly fine, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a few minutes.
At a party. I'm like, you weren't in Vietnam.
How old was this kid?
Like 12?
That makes me so sad for that child. That is not learning resilience.
It's really not. Exactly.
Send him to the Boy Scouts, go camping.
It's not nice. I'm not saying that was a nice. I think that was bullying, but it's not post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just not.
Yeah. You see, because Andrew isn't medically trained. Now, I work with a lot of autistic kids, and I'm not medically trained either. It's perhaps one of the reasons, that I don't actually go around stating what children are and what children are not autistic. It's not my job. However, if I think about it, in 20 odd years, I can only think of one child that I work with that I would question the diagnosis. But, with me, it's just one of those Ponzi schemes. I would say that, wouldn't I? Because I'm raking it in with these naughty middle-class parents' children.
I'm not saying that some of these cases aren't valid, but what's strange is in this article there's no mention of the parents at all. It's all about what the authorities can do.
Yeah.
That just makes me cringe. I know what you don't want the authorities bringing up your child.
Well, it depends. Like a Chinese-style authority, you know, where they don't get any of the special treatment. And
You think that would be good?
they get whacked with a ruler or whatever.
Bring back corporal punishment, that's your message.
It's just a ruler.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I agree. I mean, I was thrashed at school and I turned out really well.
Yes, indeed, and we'll come on to how these three turned out. But again, you'll notice the appeal here to nostalgia. Yes, indeed. Wasn't everything fine in the past? And of course, when you think back when you're at school, there were no children with special needs there whatsoever, were they? No, none whatsoever. We can keep saying that, can't we? Over and over again. It might turn out to be true, yes. Yes, well, we have to ask ourselves why exactly these three are like this. I personally think it's their parents. I mean, two of them there on the panel claim not to be heterosexual. Now, we all know there are some people that aren't heterosexual, but there can't be that many, can there? That they're chock-a-block on GBNews, yeah? And if you think about it, most people that you know that may or may not be gay, but I think basically it's their parents that are the fault, they tend to be fairly left-wing, but magically those two aren't. I think it's their mum's fault, because it's almost always the women, because it just is, isn't it? Yeah, lack of maternal bonding, probably. I mean, they can't all be gay, can they? Not that there is such a thing as a lifestyle choice. And of course with Leo, well, I mean, where to begin there, eh? If ever there was an overindulged personality, it's Leo Curse. I mean, first of all, at some stage or other, probably his parents must have instilled in him the idea that he's funny, okay? That magically he has thoughts that the rest of us can't possibly have, which is patently untrue. And obviously this has led him down to a very, very deviant path, whereby he's occasionally had to take holidays because groups like Hope Not Hate have found out that he's posting stuff up that he shouldn't do, which of course is something we mustn't mention because we just indulge these people, don't we? And we give them this platform where they can just spout stuff that they're allowed to. Still, maybe they should be treated, eh? Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because I just think to myself, oh, for God's sake, don't pontificate about things you know absolutely nothing about. That's my job. Except I do tend to know stuff about what I talk about. Hopefully, anyway. Anyway, do have a lovely Saturday. Yeah, stay dry. It's weird for June, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost like it's a non-existent climate change. Yeah.